on, Foxy. It's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
So I'm just warning you, call your friends. So I'm Damian, Holbrook from TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider. I'm thrilled to be back here with this show, which we introduced to you guys a couple of years ago, and you guys embraced it. You were so great, and then the show premiered, and you were even better. The show was so much. The first one that we're going to talk about today is Interview with the Vampire. So I'm super excited because we'll have that, and then we're going to follow it up with the Anne Rice's Mayfair Witches cast and talk about their upcoming season. And these are the first two shows of the Anne Rice's Immortal Universe for AMC, and they've just recently announced, as you all, I'm sure, know, about the third season, or third series, the Talamasca. Secret agents who track them. This is a big night for us. So obviously Interview just finale the second season, and let's just put that, it's critically acclaimed the second season. And if you haven't already seen it, obviously must see. The series has the rare distinction, this is my favorite, we've got stats, because those are always fun. 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes for both its first and second season. Season 3, which, as we know, will follow Sam Reid's vampire Lestat. So today we're going to take a look back at the series from Marvel's second season and tease what's ahead for Lestat. And then our second series will be the Mayfair Witches, which is led by the incredible Alexandra Daddario. And they just recently finished production on their second season, which filmed primarily in New Orleans and then in Ireland for Scotland, but we'll explain that later. That series will return early next year, no official date yet, and we've got an amazing panel who will be able to speak to all of that. So let's get started with our vampires. Before we go though, we need to acknowledge that a few of our key vampires, including one of our newest vampires, couldn't be here with us in San Diego today. So unfortunately, we don't have the extremely talented Jacob Anderson and the iconic Eric Bogosian with us today. They're so sorry they couldn't be here, but they did send videos.
Hello, Comic-Con friends. I'm Jacob Anderson, and I just wanted to leave a message to say I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you this weekend. I'm gutted. Comic-Con is like a second home. I can't believe I'm missing it, but I'm here in London doing music stuff and jumping around on stage, which you're going to see a lot of Sam Reid doing that in the future, I'm imagining. So I don't know, I'll send you a video or something, take notes, Sam. Also just wanted to say thank you to everybody for all of your support with season 2 and for taking these weird, beautiful vampires into your hearts, and hopefully see you next time. Lots of love, have a lovely weekend. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for joining us, vampires. I'm really happy that you've been with us this past 2 seasons. We've had such a great time, and we're so happy you could have a great time with us. We can't wait for you to join us again so that we can continue to enjoy you in every way that we like to enjoy you. So keep enjoying us, and we'll keep enjoying you. Thank you.
thing. So let's bring out the living bodies that we have with us today. First, we have executive producer overseeing the entire Anne Rice Immortal Universe, Mark Johnson. Creator and executive producer, Rolin Jones. Lestat to the Import, Reid. And production designer, Mara LePere-Schloop. Oh my goodness. Wow, okay. So, do you guys want to just get down now just do the "We love you"? All right. So before we start, I need to gush a little bit because what you gave us last season was that there's not enough chef's kisses in the universe. The performances were next level. The writing, the production design, the scoring, which you know a show is connecting with people when the fans become obsessed with the score. Like when they're paying that close of attention. And also, so it was something beyond just a television experience, and the community that has built up around this show, the fandom, the family amongst the fans, is a staggering testament to the work that you guys are doing. So on behalf of all them, I say thank you. All right. Now, Mark, the longest time, readers have they've hoped to see the works of Anne Rice receive some kind of attention, the kind that you're getting, the kind that you're getting the Vampire and Mayfair Witches. So, what has it been like for you to be the architect of this universe that already has so many residents in it?
Oh my God, I wish it were I wish I could say that I had that kind of control. I'm at the mercy of talent like this. And so the first thing out of the box was our first season of Interview with the Vampire. And it's extraordinary. I'd love to try and take some credit for it. I don't know that I can. And so that set a standard that's a Pantheon, and we're trying to get close to it every time we start a new show or a new episode. And I can't believe our second season, I'll tell you this right now, is better than our first. It's the best thing on television.
Now, for both shows, and for the Oscar going forward, the casting is so key. So how do you collaborate with the showrunners and the creatives on each of them to make sure that we get the Sam Reids, the Delainey, the Assads, the Alexanders? How do you make sure that we get that level?
Well, and once again, trusting your creator, our showrunner in this particular case, Rolin was very specific about what he was looking for.
Kate Road James. She's the casting agent in London. Exquisite taste. End of story.
And then our cinematography, our production design, every step of the way, and Rolin was very specific. And what I was trying to do, Anne Rice has given us so many gifts. At the same time, I want to make sure that this is Rolin Jones' version of Anne Rice's. And that's what we're going to do.
All right, Rolin's
He's very modest.
How does that feel hearing that?
That was annoying and alarming and all that. It's Anne. Nobody would be here without Anne. She wrote. She was way ahead of everything, and we're still catching up.
So you previously, we all know you've looked at this adaptation of Interview with the Vampire as not really 2 seasons of television, but 15 parts. So how did you decide kind of what to take, what to keep, what to kind of maybe do later, and will you do the same approach with Lestat?
The second part first. Yes, we have the advantage, the older the movie, of having all the books. and they inform each other. They set a sort of arc and a trajectory. The first book was clearly about Loveia, and almost all the decisions were made to deliver on, showing that character in every light, in every dimension, and in such a full, sighted way, that it would be impossible for us to do the show going forward without it. After that, it was very simple. It's like it's a two-handed play that becomes a three-handed play. There's an old guy, and then there's a really old guy. Sit down, kind of figure out why the hell they're in the same room together, and why, and everything sort of just went from there. The other thing was so much of the beauty of Anne's writing is in the prose, and that's sometimes difficult to put into actors' mouths to make that dramatic for a serial like television. So we made a decision early on to try to embrace that prose and create events that we were able to use as much of Anne's writing and put into actors who had the facility for language to make it sound like everyday speech. And those were sort of the building blocks about how to do it.
Maurice wrote in, I asked for some fan questions, and I think I crashed the server somewhere. People are very detailed. By the end of the show, so Maurice wrote in, by the end of the show, whenever that may be, do you think it's important that viewers have a generally objective understanding of the events that have occurred, or do you prefer so much being open to interpretation?
What piece of art? What book, what movie do you experience the same way when you're 20, or when you're 30, or when you're 60? Hopefully we made something that you could revisit over and over again and feel differently about it every single time. We made some sort of mirror to reflect on the viewer. And so, yeah, I don't know. No, I guess is the question. It should be subjective and aggressively so.
Speaking of a piece of art, Sam Reid. It makes him so uncomfortable, you gotta do it. But my God, sir, you fed us last year. The season 2 finale, brought Zoe and Lestat back together, back to New Orleans, where it all began from. And I'm not gonna ask, because we all know, I'm not gonna ask what you two said to each other. But I do want to know, what did you two say to each other after you saw the season?
I don't know, I speak to Jacob all the time, so I don't really know. After we saw that scene, I think we were both a little bit embarrassed, actually. I think we were so shocked that it was so emotional. And we're very proud of it, but it was like, whoa, fuck, is that too much? In fact, I actually, in ADR, like that bit when I'm like, did you hear that? I actually asked, can we redo this? Because it sounds ridiculous. Redo it. And Rolin, this is the thing with Rolin, he's like, no, this is staying in the show. And so you see these characters in an incredibly vulnerable way where you've never seen them in the show. I'm proud to make something that is sort of so exposing and vulnerable in a way. So I think at the end of the day, we're proud of it. We're really proud of it. Yeah.
All right. Delainey, I have never seen that. I've never seen a fandom embrace a recast so readily, so rapidly, and so lovingly. The audience fell in love with this Claudia, so much so that we almost pre-warned what was coming, which is super difficult to watch. She's such a complicated character and such a young character with so many levels that you brought. Now that you've seen the season, do you get it? Do you understand why we were all so invested in Claudia?
Yeah, I got it in season 1. I loved season 1, I thought it was amazing, and I was like, oh my god, I'm really good part of this. But yeah, I love Claudia with all my heart, and we do no wrong ever.
What did you think when you saw that you know, that Lestat was the last person she looked at?
I battled with it in my mind a bit because I was trying to understand whether it was hatred or, you know, like her needing his help in a way. And when we did the scene a couple of times over, we kind of like navigated different takes, so it was experimenting, and then yeah, I realised that she was in so much pain that it is, you know, her looking into for help, and yeah, it's very sad, but that's really good.
And now Asad. The fact that they are responding to you after what you did, and you know what you did. Another one, the performances you brought, like, the amount of work that had to go into playing the deception that was masking, you know, the love, and also that fear of, you know, I mean, the man is old enough to have understood, like, this is not a stand, right? I mean, he's been through it.
Good afternoon. Yeah, but I think you can, I don't know, for me I was like, you can try and have all of those things in your mind and kill yourself with anxiety from it, or you can play one thing at a time. And I think we have a lot of things in our bodies as human beings. We are a lot of things, but we don't play everything at the same time. We pick and choose, or one thing controls another thing. So I don't know. I think that's how I did it.
How was it for you watching the show and seeing like the fan reaction online and whatnot, if you follow that, and knowing like you're like starting to like me? Just waiting for the text messages start coming in.
That's exactly how I was reacting to it.
And how fun was it for you to finally get like some work with Sam in that scene in the finale, where you guys kind of, you know, it was like torn between two lovers kind of stuff.
But in the finale?
Man, the scene there.
Oh yes, yeah.
We just did a lot of eye acting.
Yeah, there was a lot of. Also, I remember it was freezing cold in there. Do you remember? It was like.
I don't remember that.
Maybe it's because I didn't say anything, so I'm like standing. I felt like Reid again, watching Lily and the study and thinking.
I think that actually that scene, we talked a lot about it, that kind of like the most interesting thing about that scene is what's going on between Lestat and Armand, because they both know what's going on. Yeah. So there's so much unspoken between the two of them. That was the most fun layer to play with.
Yeah, and there's the moment when you say Akasha and you look at it. I was like, there's all of those things are like as an actor, okay, there's curiosity to play with here, but then also as a spectator, knowing where we're going, was like, I was thinking ahead to coming out, and this is such a nice little sprinkling on the audience. This is like tingles. You delivered it very well. So.
Delainey and Asad. Anne wrote in, what was it like working together to portray the complicated dynamic between Armand and Claudia? Did you guys recognize any parallels between both the characters, and did that inform either of your performances?
I think the fact that they returned so young and like Armand knowing that and still treating Claudia the way that he did is very interesting to me. I'm the leader of this hate page.
There's like, I think Armand ultimately, after what he did, he still did, and there's a lot of respect there who Claudia was. There was. I mean, people show respect in lots of weird ways. Sometimes by killing, or orchestrating their death. But like, you know, there's also the, you know, you were Lestat's fledgling, and he has complicated feelings towards that as well. So I think, yeah, he was never there.
So I think I spoke to you after the finale. Do you think he felt any guilt for what happened with Claudia?
Yes. Yeah. I think he feels guilt for a lot of things. I just think he can't face himself. Like he doesn't know how to take responsibility for this. Yeah, I think he feels that.
You've seen somebody also check there, they sent in a last night. Have you seen these videos of people going to the Louvre to go see the Armand painting?
My sister sent me one. My sister sent me a photo of some people at the Louvre, and they took pictures in front of. It's in the same room as the Mona Lisa. We might soon overtake them. I think we should want to tell them to start like a queue or something. But that's it. Yeah, we filmed it somewhere else. But
Damn, that's the magic of what I do. We did the lead.
Get something on?
Surprise.
Came from the Louvre to Chantilly.
No, it was
Remember, he was under Daniel. The music, Daniel. So the music obviously is incredible. It heightens, it truly does, like, it controls emotions at times. Where you're like watching, there have been moments in the show where I'm watching, I'm like, wait, what am I feeling? It's like these violins are happening. What can you tell us about your creative process in tackling like the really heightened emotional ones?
Rolin and I start early. We start before anything's been shot. We start maybe even before scripts. We're chatting. We're talking about your ambitions, the music that you're listening to, and then I start listening to that music. And then we talk more. And then you ask me to write 20 pieces of music before ever seeing a script, and I guess what they're supposed to be. And then you tell me what they could be. And I write more music.
You have a shit job, man.
But the meat of the work is done once I'm looking at episodes and seeing what's happening on screen, seeing what these three and the other actors are doing, what the production design looks like, how lines are being delivered, how fast the camera's moving, the lighting, the timbre of people's voices, all that kind of stuff affects the choices that I'm making, and some of it's intentional, like if it's a scene with Armand, I'm trying to not put any like violas or bassoons or things like that in the forefront, things that it would be like the same timbre of your voice. So keep those in the back, let your voice take up that space. But then the other things are more subconscious, like I'm just watching what's happening on screen, and it's making me feel things. It's making me very emotional myself, so I try to pour what I'm feeling into that music to do justice to what's already happening on screen. Sometimes to highlight, sometimes to just provide a little bed underneath, and most of the time in some kind of dialogue with everyone and everything that you see.
When the stuff moment of post, right? We've been sitting there with temp music over and over again, and everybody's been looking at the same clip, blah blah blah, and then a Daniel Hart thing drops in, and all the you can attest to this. Where's you can right? You can hear? Yeah, right. When a Daniel Hart piece comes, everyone stops, comes and sees the scene and listens to it, and everybody feels like, what a fucking great show.
Well, Daniel, how would you describe it? Like, did you create in your mind, or even like on adapt tones or styles for each of the characters? Like their own music kind of thing?
Yeah, if it's possible, they'll get an instrument for themselves that is their instrument, maybe per season, if possible, and maybe it's just per episode, depending on the other needs of what's happening on screen. And everybody gets their themes, their melodic themes, which weave in and out throughout seasons and episodes. Yeah, I try to do as much character work as possible. I, like Rolin, came from the playwriting world. That's what I studied in school, and I think about those kinds of things all the time. I'm thinking about character arcs and motivations, and that's how I approach this kind of work. So yeah, I'm always thinking about the characters.
All right. Okay, and Mara LePere-Schloop. So into that like modern New Orleans thing, and it's like sweaty and hot. But what you had created both for New Orleans, you know, of the first season and Paris for the second season, this was just, I mean, you are building a whole world up from the ground up. And then the theater. The theater. I mean, where do you start? Where do you start? Like say season 2, we're doing Paris, we're filming in Prague. How do we make this happen?
A lot of sleepless nights. When I first signed on to season 1, the 2 seasons were one, so we were going to do the whole thing. And what I was most excited about was the theater. And then a few months later, we decided to split it into 2 seasons, and I was like, oh no, there goes the theater. And obviously, what we got to do in season 1 was absolutely incredible. And as someone that lives in New Orleans, it was an absolute joy to be able to represent a time period, the Jazz Age, Storyville, which hasn't really been seen on film and doesn't exist in New Orleans anymore. And Rolin has done such an incredible job of adapting this to time periods that are so magical and that we really haven't seen represented. And so in season 2, we got to kick things off with, Eastern Europe in World War II, which typically we see a lot of Western Europe, but it was great to be able to see another side of the war. And then we launch into post-war Paris, which is just an incredible time period with the energy of rebirth post-war, but also this kind of like, rations were going on for several years after the war. So it's this brightness, it's this energy, but there's also this like anchor from the war that's pulling things down. And so realizing those things was a challenge, but a really exciting one. And doing it, we jokingly referred to shooting Prague as Paris as Paris. And we were lucky enough to have a few days to actually shoot in Paris, which was magical, and apparently we completely tricked Sam into thinking he was strange places. No, it was a real gift. Brian got
You're not seeing the real one. You see it.
But your theater, you got to do 2 of them.
The theater, right? So, sorry, long-winded answer. I didn't even get to the question. So the theater, we started out in 1795 with the Renowned Theater when Assad, or I should say, Armand and Lestat kicked things off with the Theater de Vampires. And what Rolin and I decided was that it'd be great to kind of bring some new energy with our adaptation to things. And so we had them towards the turn of the 20th century move into this new kind of industrial space. And it's this hybrid of, sacrilegious artifacts and, a little bit of Gothic or neo-Gothic imagery, and then our theater. And it was such an exciting exercise. We took this old factory on the outskirts of Prague, and we built our stage and our sets. And we actually put in a superstructure and columns and a grid so that people could fly around and not die, which is a good thing. And then we started the season without all the scripts, so we didn't know what was going to happen in episode 8. We knew someone was going to come and kick some ass in the theater, but we didn't know what was going to be destroyed. So we actually put cement board underneath everything that we built, assuming that the whole thing was just going to burn down, which there was a lot of fire. But I think Rolin and I were talking before this about our favorite sets of the show, and the green room, the area under the stage where all the Coven members were. It was such a fun set to get to work on. Rolin and the writers graciously wrote bios for each of our vampires, and we got to know their histories and when they returned, who they were before, and we got to develop what those spaces were. And it's a dream job. It's magical and wonderful, and the team is incredible, and yeah, it's really great.
So we've talked a lot about this serious stuff. But with this world they've built and these beautiful sets and these sounds and everything, not everything always goes to plan. And we have a reel for you guys to watch our favorite vampires things up. So obviously we know season 3 will be Rockstar Lestat. Our time's running short because I've got to get to the next show in the universe. But Rolin, why don't you just set it up?
Dan writes his Daniel Hart's The Vampire Lestat.
What kind of thing is this guy going to be?
Well, he's been talking some stuff back and forth, me and Daniel, about what Asad is going to sound like. And, the basic thing that we should know is, in the books, it's sort of a bookend. There's one concert. But we don't do things like that on our show, so it's going to be a full tour across the country. I don't know, Dave Loveia,
St. Vincent,
Bjork,
T-Rex,
Freddie Mercury,
Beastie Boys,
Friends List,
Shostakovich,
Douglas Dare, Red Cross, Lang Lang, Iggy Pop, St. Vincent, Prince, Florence Welch, Kim Willis, Gustav Mahler, Brendan Flowers, Fiona Apple, Serge Gainsbourg, Electric Light Orchestra, The Sweet, Nick Cave, Rowley Ritchie, Benjamin Cleve, Clementine, Dapper Rowan, Rob, Brian Canner, John Kell, Jeff Mangum, Paul Westerberg, Martha Argerich, and Daniel Hart. It's going to be so much.
And since we can't do all these questions today, you have something else better for that.
Oh, you don't want to see that. Oh, well, what you can do with a certain amount of money in the city of Brooklyn. Here we go. A sneak. A lot of stuff. From a potential, soon to be, season 3. Winner with the Vampire.
Well, the Carson over and another one for hours. Hey, look, if you want, I can have somebody knock on the window. I think he was, I think he was entertaining somebody.
Do we have insurance for homicide?
You know what, we had 3 deaths on the doctor says it's only.
That's him. Jesus Christ. Look at him. Okay, let's go.
Mr. Linecourt, hi, Mark Johnson, I'm the executive producer. We're talking about a couple of times. We're really excited about it.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Hey man, thanks for the tickets last night. Great show.
Hair and makeup now?
Do I look like I need it? There's a couple, let's see.
You don't have the gauntlet. Can we give her the gauntlet, please? Thank you. We need to wire you for sound, if you don't mind. The camera we're going to be using is called an Interatron. I'll be sitting here, and you'll see my face in the camera. So we like talking to each other, and we just stare at the camera.
You're so nice, dehydrated.
We'll honor, please. All right, let's go, people.
Team 101, take 1, 8am only.
And action. Okay, we're going to start. Could you state your name for the camera?
Justin Bieber.
Up there, what do you think of Excuse me.
Give me a second here. I am the vampire, more or less the light of the sun, the sustained heat of an intense fire. These things might destroy me, but then again, they might not.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will.